And now at noon, the winter weather advisory begins in less than 2 hours, covering most of our viewing area. Let's take a live look outside over downtown Houston. Kind of covered in gray there. It is cold outside. Meanwhile, though, in North Texas, sleet and snow falling in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You're looking at live images of the Central Expressway in Dallas, and it is snow covered. Very little traffic there. Good afternoon. I'm Sherman Chow. Several Houston area school districts are already taking measures. You can find closure and delay information crawling at the bottom of your screen in just a little bit. We do have team coverage guiding you through this Arctic blast with our reporters live across our viewing area and monitoring the ERCOT power grid. Plus, we have got team weather coverage with meteorologists Cheetah Kraft and Kim Castro. Cheetah, let's get started with you. Walk us through the next couple of hours.
Hey, Sherman. Well, you know, this is the thing. Over the next couple of hours, we are going to see this pink, that freeze line, inch a little closer here into town. But the big story is just how it's impacting millions of people all across the state. So we're talking Dallas blanketed in snow, even from Austin heading in towards San Antonio, looking at that sleet, freezing rain transition. And that's already taking place from Bryan-College Station into Brenham. And slowly but surely, as our temperatures drop, that pink will start to inch a little further south. But right now, most of you who are watching, when you look out your window, you're just looking at rain. Cold rain, but just rain in place. Take a look what is going on, though, from Bryan-College Station, Hearn, Caldwell, Brenham, Sandy Hill. These are areas that not only are seeing some freezing rain, but it's even trying to transition into sleet. And that's when we start to get concerned about a little bit of that accumulation. Take a look at the winter weather advisory. It takes effect at 2 o'clock, just like Sherman said. And Kim Castro, let's bring you on in here. Temperatures below the freezing point now in College Station, but we still have several hours to watch these 40s even transition into 30s. But when they do, even the winds, it's going to feel really cold by this evening. I'll send it over to you.
Cheetah, you're absolutely right. So temperatures at or below the freezing mark this afternoon. Here's a snapshot at 2:30, and that's when the moisture starts to line up with the cool temperatures, especially for our northern and western counties. I'm talking about Walker, Grimes, Washington, Austin, even parts of Waller counties. That's when you can start to see the wintry precip. As we take this into motion, there's a small window, a thin band of this wintry mix here possible for the city center, and that moves off really quickly. Now that's the end of the precip part of the forecast, but the temperature part of the forecast is just getting started. Temperatures continue to drop. Going to be a very chilly early morning because we also have wind to factor into the equation. We're talking about sustained wind, 15 to 20 miles an hour gusts, getting up to potentially 30 miles an hour. So the wind chill value for tomorrow morning, that's going to be a big talker. No way to avoid it. Look at how we're waking up. It's going to feel like 13 degrees at College Station, Brenham 2, 15 degrees for Huntsville. Lots of teens across the board. Bush barely holding on to the low 20s. Very cool start to the day. Sherman.
All right, it was cold enough this morning. Thank you, Kim. New at noon, Governor Greg Abbott giving an update on the winter weather across our state. Of course, folks, remembering the power grid failure during last February's devastating freeze. Investigative reporter Jeremy Rogaski has been following that and this morning's press conference. Jeremy.
Well, Sherman, Governor Abbott said current and projected grid conditions show that there is plenty of power available now and for the rest of this winter storm. The governor said at peak demand, which is expected tomorrow morning, the ERCOT grid should have about 20,000 extra megawatts of power. For context, that's enough to supply about an extra 2 million homes. However, Abbott and the Public Utility Commission chairman added that many parts of the state are dealing with one of the most significant icing events in decades, and iced up power lines and fallen tree limbs have already caused the lights to go out for about 70,000 customers at this time.
It's important to understand that these are localized outages that are not related to system-wide reliability issues. The grid remains strong, reliable, and it is performing well in this winter weather event.
Governor Abbott said there are about 10,000 linemen deployed across the state working to fix any down lines. And we also heard from the head of the Texas Railroad Commission. That's the agency which regulates the natural gas industry. The RRC reports no significant issues at this time and says natural gas is flowing. Sherman.
All right, so far so good. Thank you, Jeremy. We are, of course, keeping a close eye on this real-time data from ERCOT, which manages the Texas power grid. That thin purple line represents the amount of power available right now. That turquoise line underneath it is the amount of energy being used. So based on that, everything looking good. But if those lines cross, that could mean blackouts. It is already freezing in College Station, where Texas A&M canceled classes today. Adam Bennett has been in the Bryan-College Station area all morning. All right, Adam, how are things looking?
Well, Sherman, Cheetah mentioned that transition from rain into sleet, and we are seeing and feeling that right now. Just started within the last hour or so. This is precipitation that has been falling all morning long and probably will continue to do so for a while. TxDOT, they are taking no chances. They are really asking people, though, to stay off the roads if they don't absolutely have to be there. And if they do, really try to slow their speed and give their crews some room. Actually, their crews, they have been out on the roads pre-treating these surfaces since 7 a.m. yesterday. And they were back at it all night long and through this morning. We saw them at several different times. They have been really focusing on those overpasses, those spots that tend to freeze first. But the rain and now sleet is really not making things very easy for them. In fact, they tell me they've had to actually return to some of the spots and retreat them again because that rain had washed away that brine saltwater mix that they use.
We anticipate that we will get more freezing temperatures as the day continues on. And so we will continue to be out monitoring all night again tonight and into tomorrow.
And one thing that TxDOT officials say has really helped them is the fact that a lot of schools have canceled classes for today. That includes Texas A&M University here in College Station. It was a ghost town on campus when we visited earlier. Now, as far as whether classes will be canceled tomorrow or delayed or what's going to happen, university officials say they are planning to make that final call by 3 this afternoon. Sherman?
All right, stay bundled up, Adam. Thank you. Let's head now to David Gonzalez, monitoring road conditions in our weather tracker in Houston. And David, you're on US 59?
Hey, Sherman, that's right. The good news right now is that road conditions are looking pretty good right now. Things appear to be drying out, but the bad news, as Cheetah and Kim have been mentioning all morning long, is that things could change as weather moves in, and that could make roads wet once again. And as temperatures fall, that can make road conditions a little more dangerous. I'm going to give you guys a live look right now. This is Highway 59 heading toward 610 interchange in the Galleria area, and this is some of the areas of concern that TxDOT will be monitoring. Crews are on standby because they expect to mobilize a little later as a precaution. And this is the areas that they're looking at. They're looking at these overpasses and bridges that tend to freeze first anytime there's a potential of ice. TxDOT tells me that they are waiting for roads to dry, and they plan to treat areas west and north of downtown. Crews will focus on elevated structures like bridges and overpasses. They have already treated roadways in Waller and Montgomery counties, and later today they will target areas that could become dangerous if ice were to form, like the Fred Hartman Bridge, and even as far south as the Galveston Causeway. Right now they say they are always ready for the weather to change, and of course we'll be monitoring the situation. The best thing that they say you can do is know before you go. Back to you.
All right, always bears reminding. Thank you, David. And let's take a live look on the east side, road conditions there. This is going to be 225 LaPorte at Pasadena. Things moving very smoothly there, looking good for now in that part of town. The winter storm also impacting travel across the state. This morning, DFW Airport in Dallas had to close temporarily because of the icy conditions there. We showed you the road conditions at the top of the newscast. Lots of snow on the ground there. And here locally, scores of flights canceled as well. Our Michelle Choi is posted at Bush Airport. So, Michelle, what's the latest on the cancellations and delays?
Well, Sherman, because of this winter storm, unfortunately, flight cancellations have been piling up. As of this afternoon, we know that there are more than 120 canceled flights in and out of Bush Airport. Majority of those cancellations are flights going to and arriving from cities like Dallas and Austin, all places hit hard by the Arctic blast. Now take a look. Houston is fortunately faring much better than our neighboring cities. However, the flight cancellations are causing a ripple effect across the country. And with the weather expected to get colder here in Houston, bringing with it possibly a wintry mix in some of our northern areas. A spokesperson for Houston Airport says if needed, they're ready to spray runways with de-icing chemicals. Airlines have similar plans in place for their planes as well. Now, earlier, we spoke with some travelers, including a couple from the Woodlands, who ironically missed their flight to Vegas, not because of the winter storm, but because of a delayed ride to the airport. They told us they were grateful this morning that the weather was holding up.
Not really, because it's really the North Texas that's really catching the worst of it. You put no ice on the ground, a little bit of rain, that ain't gonna hurt nobody. Got umbrellas, you feel me?
As we mentioned, this winter storm is wreaking havoc in several cities across Texas. In fact, in Dallas, the FAA says DFW Airport was closed until 8 this morning due to icy conditions there. Earlier, the airport tweeted out this picture saying that they were in the process of de-icing its planes and treating its runways for snow and ice. We're told one runway is now operational. Now, Austin Airport says majority of their flights have been canceled today as well. Back here at home over at Hobby Airport, we know that there are now more than 70 cancellations. Most of those are Southwest Airlines flights. And of course, there are going to be more cancellations and delays throughout the day today. So be sure to check on your flight status. We'll, of course, keep you updated as well. Sherman.
All right, airport travel always stressful in the best of times. Thank you very much, Michelle Choi. Remember, you can text us at 713-526-1111 using the keywords on your screen like weather, travel, power, and app. And we will send you back some helpful links. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.